Everyone thinks taller athletes have the biggest advantage, but that's actually one of the biggest myths in sports. In reality, your height gives you completely different physical superpowers, and physics can predict which sport your body was almost designed for. Let's start with the shortest athletes. Most people think being short is a disadvantage. Physics completely disagrees. Imagine spinning a pencil, then try spinning a broomstick just as fast. That's exactly why compact bodies rotate much faster, and that's the hidden advantage elite gymnasts are born with. Your body is naturally built closer to its center of rotation. That means every flip takes less effort and happens much faster. Taller athletes simply can't fold their bodies as tightly. It's not about talent, it's pure physics. And one athlete proved it better than anyone else. Simone Biles changed gymnastics forever. Some of her skills were so difficult, judges had to create new scoring rules. Her incredible work ethic mattered, but physics gave her an advantage no amount of training can copy. But here's the twist. The exact same body can become a disadvantage in the wrong sport, because every sport rewards a different law of physics. Horse racing is a perfect example. Here, the horse creates almost all of the power. The jockey's job is simply not to slow it down. Every extra pound makes the horse work harder. That's why being small becomes a huge competitive advantage. Sometimes the less you weigh, the faster you win. But move just a few inches taller, and the advantage changes completely. Welcome to the leverage specialists, athletes between 5'2" and 5'6". This is where raw strength becomes incredibly efficient. Everyone thinks longer arms make you stronger. It sounds logical, but physics says otherwise. Imagine using two different wrenches. One has to travel much farther. The shorter wrench finishes first. Your arms work exactly the same way. Shorter limbs create force more efficiently. Less distance, more power. That's why compact powerlifters can lift unbelievable weights, sometimes 5 times their own body weight. That's almost impossible for a much taller frame. And this advantage doesn't stop in the gym. It becomes even more powerful in combat sports. In wrestling, balance matters more than brute strength. Everything starts with your center of gravity. The lower it is, the harder you are to move. That's why wrestlers always stay low. They're using physics to stay in control. Imagine trying to push a mountain. That's what perfect balance feels like. Leverage beats size surprisingly often. The biggest athlete isn't always the strongest. Sometimes they're simply easier to throw. Now let's look at the fastest athletes on the field. Here, speed isn't enough. Agility wins games. Every quick turn starts with physics. Your body resists changing direction. The more mass you have, the harder it is to stop. That's why lighter athletes cut so quickly. Every movement wastes almost no energy. That's a huge advantage in modern football. One player mastered this better than almost anyone. His greatest weapon wasn't speed, it was control. The difference is surprisingly small. Sometimes it's only a single step. One perfect change of direction creates just enough space to break through the defense. That tiny opening is all an elite player needs to create a scoring chance. Elite athletes don't wait for opportunities. They create them with every movement. And the exact same principle appears far beyond the football field. Boxing rewards the same skill, but the consequences are much more painful. Every punch travels with incredible speed, but every punch also follows a predictable path. The smartest fighters don't stop the punch. They simply move out of its way. That tiny movement saves energy and keeps the fighter ready for the next attack. Over an entire fight, those small advantages become the difference between winning and losing. Now we reach one of the most balanced height ranges in all of sports. This is where strength, speed, and coordination begin working together almost perfectly. These athletes can sprint, jump, and stay powerful without sacrificing quick reactions. That's why this height appears across so many different professional sports. There are very few weaknesses when your body is built this way. That's why these athletes can adapt to almost any challenge they face. They may never be the absolute strongest, but they're rarely at a disadvantage. Balance often beats specialization when the competition becomes unpredictable. That's why versatility becomes one of the greatest athletic advantages. But even this height range isn't perfect for every single sport. Now we're entering the world of the tallest athletes in sports. Here, long limbs become an incredible advantage instead of a disadvantage. Sometimes reaching just a little higher completely changes the outcome of the play. Height creates opportunities that simply don't exist for smaller players. But every advantage always comes with a trade-off. Longer legs cover more distance, but they also take slightly longer to change direction. That's why tall athletes dominate open space but often struggle in tight situations. That's exactly why every sport rewards a different body type. There isn't one perfect height, only the perfect height for a specific challenge. Your body isn't limiting your potential. It's guiding you toward your greatest advantage. Every body is designed to solve different physical challenges more efficiently than others. The smartest athletes learn to use their natural strengths instead of fighting against them. Success comes from understanding your body, not comparing it to someone else's, because your greatest advantage might already be part of who you are. The real advantage isn't your height, It's knowing how to use it. Every champion succeeds by maximizing strengths instead of chasing impossible perfection. Physics never plays favorites. It rewards athletes who understand how their bodies really work. The best athletes don't fight physics. They make physics work for them every single day. So maybe the perfect height doesn't exist, only the perfect way to use the one you already have. The fastest runner won't dominate every sport, the strongest athlete won't either. Every sport rewards a completely different combination of physical abilities and body proportions. That's why athletes train differently instead of chasing the exact same physical build. The goal isn't becoming someone else, it's becoming the best version of yourself. Your body already has natural advantages waiting to be developed through practice and dedication. The athletes who understand their bodies usually improve faster than everyone else. Success comes from working with physics, not trying to fight against it every day. Height is only one part of the equation. Technique always completes the picture. So no matter how tall you are, your greatest advantage is learning how your body moves. And maybe that's the real secret behind every great athlete.